Hello, my lovely witches. I hope you are well. Thank you for joining me today. This is another impromptu video that I had absolutely not planned to do. It's not going to be a very long one, but I had all sorts of plans today. It's Saturday. I was going to do lots of art magic this afternoon. I've got some things I want to put into my book of shadows. I'm currently doing a course with Jude Lally on my matron goddess and working with her, and there's a lot of art magic involved, and I wanted to get to the next lesson on that this afternoon. I went outside this morning because I needed to check whether it had rained in the night, because I'd left my washing out last night and it had rained, and in fact it was a little bit drizzly. So I was like, well, okay, well, I can't bring my washing in. This is a long and boring story that doesn't make, but I'm getting to the point, truly. So anyway, it was drizzly, and I looked across to my lavender bush and there were no bees around it because of the drizzle. And I suddenly thought, oh, in that case, now is the perfect time for me to harvest some lavender. I'm allergic to bee stings, and like quite seriously allergic to them. So I'm not going to be harvesting things when there's bees just buzzing everywhere. So it was sort of just nature saying, hey, this is your moment. So I picked a big basket of lavender, you can see, and intended on creating some smoke cleansing wands. I use them in my space cleansing kits, my house cleansing kits that I sell on Etsy. They are only available in Australia because I can't ship plant material overseas, or some countries I might be able to, but it's really awkward to know which ones I can and can't. So they are only available in Australia. But I recently sold two and realised I'm actually getting quite low on some of my smoke cleansing bundles that I put into those kits. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's lavender season. I need to make some more lavender bundles. I'll do that. So yeah, here we are. And I thought, well, why don't I make you a little video on how I make the bundles? Because I'm sure there's a bajillion of them out there on YouTube. And I'm sure if you Google it, you can find any number of people explaining how to do this. It is a very simple process. However, having spoken to people about this, I've known a lot of people who struggle with them and have problems with them. So I thought, all right, well, let's just do this with you. I'm doing it anyway. I'll do it with you guys. So I have here my lavender. I have gone through and trimmed the ends so I don't have really long lengths of the very, very woody ends. You need some of that, but not too much. And I mean, this goes with any of the herbs you might choose to use for a smoke cleansing bundle. I do this with rosemary. I do it with cypress or cedar. They're some of my favorite smoke cleansing ones. I've tried doing this with my red sage, my pineapple sage, but there is so much water inside that herb that even when I really tightly tie them, they shrink so much that they fall out of their strings. So that is a herb I've discovered I can't make smoke bundles out of, or not wholly out of red sage. I could probably add my red sage to maybe some lavender or some rosemary or something that's a bit less juicy, and it would dry in there quite well. So I've also got some of this. Embroidery thread type stuff. This I found at my local op shop. So I didn't choose the pale pink color. Not that I mind the pale pink color, but this is the color I happen to have. I've got a big roll of it, so it's really great for doing these. This stuff's quite expensive. You can use regular kitchen string, but I prefer something a bit finer. And embroidery thread seems to work quite well because it's quite strong, but it's also quite fine. Regular cotton thread is a bit too thin and not easy on the hands when you're actually tying the bundle, which we will get to in a minute. And I have a pair of scissors just to cut the string. So, you know, that's all I need. The plant material on the string. So I'm going to grab out a bundle of lavender. About enough that sort of fits in. Oh, sorry guys, my nails are filthy. This is because I've been out in the garden. Gross. Don't look at that. So about enough that fits sort of comfortably in your closed hand is the right amount for a good sized bundle. And you literally, holding the woody end part, fold over the tips, okay? So we have the tips folded down towards the stem. Then we grab a long piece of the thread. You do want a long piece on this because we're going to wind it back and forth around this bundle. And then the very first bit is the hardest bit, and I always do it in the middle because I think that's the easiest spot to do it, is you tie your first piece of, you know, one end of the thread around the center of the bundle. Tie in a knot. Apologies if this isn't all that easy to see. This first one is hard, but it is literally just tied in a knot. But tie it pretty tightly. You won't get it as tight as the bundle will ultimately be, but it's a good starting point. Okay, then we take the long end of the thread, leave that shorter one there. We're going to come back to that later. And we literally, folding these back over again, we wind our thread, but very tightly, like really, really tightly. This is the key to making these bundles work really well. And we wind it around, and then we go back. When you get to the top, you go back. Just keep that one free for yourself because you're going to tie your end of your thread back to that later. And we wind back again. Just in a spiral around our bundle. Winding it. But as you can see, really tightly, like that held in my hand like that, and then it was doubled over. And you can see how tightly I'm winding the thread around it. People worry that if they tie it too tightly, it doesn't have airflow to dry herbs. Now, that is absolutely correct if you're trying to dry a bundle of herbs for use in teas or what have you. But this is a very different process. And you actually want no airflow, because if you have some airflow but not enough airflow, you will get mold. If it's really tight, you won't get mold. Okay, so there we have, I've come to the end of my string. I actually didn't make that quite long enough because I haven't quite got as far back as I would like to have, but it's still fine, it'll work. And we tie the other end back to this end in the middle of the bundle. Okay, so you can see super tight. And that's that. I'll just trim those ends of the string like so. And we have a bundle. Now, I could trim the ends of these as well. That's personal choice. You know, a lot of the commercial white sage bundles you see have been very tightly trimmed. I'm making these more for me and for the kits that I sell. I don't feel like they need to have really, you know, trimmed ends. And that's it. There's a lavender bundle. Very, very simple. I've got a whole lot more to make. But I think I've probably given you enough of an idea of how to do this. If you have any questions about the process, pop them in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I'm more than happy to answer them. I've been making smoke cleansing bundles for years because it's fun, and it's a great way to connect with the plants in your garden or in your area, get a feel for, it's just that connection with the land, which I really love, and also to use in your practice. I find lavender is a really gentle cleanse of a house. So if you've got fragility in your emotional state, it can be a nicer blend, a nicer herb to use for cleansing than, say, rosemary or sage, or pine is quite strong. It's very gentle, which I like. I particularly like to use the lavender in the kits that I sell for a house cleanse post breakup or divorce, when someone's, you know, still living in a house that they used to live in with their partner, because that can be quite important to cleanse, I think, the energy of the space then. But you need a different, you don't want that smack in the face kind of cleanse. You need something a little bit more gentle. I would also perhaps add some rose petals to something like that for the same reason. Thyme can be a nice cleansing herb for that purpose as well. Again, it's a little bit gentler, but still really good cleansing. So yeah, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed watching me quickly put together a lavender bundle. I hope it's inspired you to go out and make your own. And I will see you guys in the next video.